I don't have a tech director tonight, so that's me back behind the camera, now making my way around to the front of the camera as we get started with...
Handfuls of Dice!
Welcome to our second shooting. We're still doing this guerrilla low-tech style. But we tried a little bit of a different setup today so that you would have a better chance of seeing all of our performers after we tested last time. So we're still doing our free, just everyone see them and enjoy the show stuff. Do be looking out, however, for our upcoming impending Patreon, because we will, in fact, be setting up so that people get early access to the shows and some of the special segments we're going to be doing. I was just talking, by the way, Ammon, earlier to the guys about using the kitchen for cooking with Paleo Joe. So I think they're going to be...
dinosaurs, one of those like T-Rex suits.
I think that's going to be fun. So once again, let me introduce my cast, and we'll start with Samantha Siebold, Sammy, playing Shalendra. We have Caitlin, who very kindly drove all the way up from the Springs today through traffic to get to us, playing Sunburst. Mordriel being played by Michael Jones, Paleo being played by Ammon Underhill, and Catherine Jones playing Timelapse. If you watched our previous shows, you've had a chance to already get a sense of the characters and who they are and what they can do, and if you haven't, why the heck not? So get on that. All right, folks. So last time when we played, we had the we did the in media res thing where we introduced everybody and kind of did a little bit of setup, session 0.5-ish. We flashed forward in time where you guys handled a situation with the organization Ragnarok, which is a European protest organization that's very nationalist oriented and anti-UN. And then you had an encounter with these superpowered folks who kind of run the show with them, called Cacophony. And if I do say so myself, after a very rough start, you ended up wiping the floor with them.
Also, I made a mortal enemy. It's fine.
Yes, yes. Sunburst made a mortal enemy out of puke.
Yep.
So, which is yet to be made. So there's your.
You're going to make it. You're going to make.
It's on my phone.
And what's funny is
here's the time lapse.
Time lapse. You know that's coming. That is a thing that
you know I have a mortal enemy.
You know that is a situation that's going to happen. We're going to go with the concept of that there are occasionally inflexible moments of time that just like in Doctor Who, there are certain things that you know are, if there's no way to fix that, there's no way of changing that. You know that that's set.
Ineffable.
It is ineffable. Yes.
Can I move to change your name to Prophecy?
No.
Oh,
she doesn't.
Cool.
She does not have the gift of prophecy in that regard. So.
Darn it. Okay.
By the way, I'm having a very tasty cocktail from our very good friends at Paleo Joe's Cafe, who are our hosts. So once again, our thanks to the Dino Hotel, the Best Western Southwest in Lakewood, Colorado. Thank you, Johanna, for this very, very nice cocktail.
Yay for Joanna.
So the reason I'm wearing this hat instead of the hat I was wearing last time, which will be the one I usually wear, is because we're celebrating the title of today's episode, which is Welcome to Paradise.
Oh no.
So this session, folks, is going to be about, you've all done some training, you've been recruited, you've been brought in, you've gone through the processing, you all are official agents, but you've been brought in by different times or whatever. And this is your first day waking up on the island, which, by the way, I will post up pictures on the Evil Beagle Entertainment Facebook page so you guys can actually see the cool pictures I found to represent. But this is the island of Niihau in the Hawaiian island chain, and this is a real place, by the way. It's owned by the Robertson family, the Robinson family. It is actually a privately owned island. They own the whole thing. They have a small population that lives there, and they're very ecology oriented. There is currently in real life, there's a United States Air Naval Base located there over a small port of it. In the Modern Gods world, the United Nations secured a lease with them, and that's where Paradise Base was established. And that is going to be Team 7, which is y'all, That's going to be your base of operations. It's located in the privately owned Nihao.
Would you say we get to meet the Robinsons?
You can leave.
Why did I hire you? Why did I bring you into this? I have no idea.
Doors right there.
I
I'm
got the
sorry.
reference, dude.
Thank you. Thank
So-
you for getting the reference.
Okay, now you're both fired.
So for the audience at home, using the Prowlers and Paragons rules, there are actually really cool rules for building headquarters. Paradise is a sprawling complex, has advanced reinforced construction, advanced defenses, advanced security systems, emergency systems, living area, advanced communications called the hub, advanced data store called the nest, advanced holding cells called lockdown. The grease pit has an advanced maintenance bay system, the House of Science for advanced science labs and advanced medical facilities, the Gear House, which is a floor of advanced workshops, and the Fun House, which is a completely separate building that is the training facility in which you guys will be undergoing continuous training. You should be aware that of the personnel of Paradise Base, Staff Sergeant Fujimoto Mitsunari is the physical fitness trainer. He's Japanese with karate and kenjutsu mastery. Believes all UNISO personnel should be able to operate at maximum physical ability despite powers. So he will challenge
Hey, I
you.
could already do that.
He will challenge you to not use your powers as he trains you in hand-to-hand and weapons use and other things. So that
Meaning I can wipe the floor with
he's a
all that.
big believer in the idea that one day your powers will be taken away from you. That does not mean you have to be powerless. We'll get into some of the other people, but we'll start with an opening scene. Time lapse.
Ooh.
You are standing in a city. You think it's New York City. You're pretty sure, but it has an Art Deco undertone to what would be otherwise very modern building constructions. It's like somehow New York City, but some of the architecture advanced in a different way somehow. There seems to be, I mean, you sense that it is a parallel equivalent time, but the cars have that 1940s, 1950s look about them, even though they're running on electric. There are dirigibles, which are really, really neat and elegant, but at the same time, very advanced. There's actually some flying vehicles above as well. Everyone's dressed in this swing era, fedoras and nice suits and dresses kind of look. It's like this whole kind of throwback to that, but yet with modern techniques for the clothing and all that. And you're standing in the middle of Times Square. Yep, that's definitely Times Square. And everything in the distance looks like it's unraveling. And you can literally see the weaves of time itself shredding and unraveling, and people are starting to scream, and they're starting to run away from this wall of nothingness that is unraveling behind them. And you see it coming, and you see it coming, and some part of you wants to run, but you can't, because you realize it's all inevitable, it's all ineffable, it's all... You wake up. You wake up in a room in the above ground part of the base. What does your room look like? What kind of space do you have for yourself here?
Probably very modest design. Not a whole lot in there, actually. Simple cot. There is there's probably a beanbag chair in there, looking kind of nice. Teapot with the little heating system. Not a whole lot going on.
Okay. Big wide windows. Do you want one of the outward facing spaces with big windows? Okay. So the beautiful sun. Do you want to be facing the ocean? Because if you are, the sun's coming right up into your face.
Sure.
Okay. Well, then you can see the sunrise coming up. It's still early in the morning, but it's a beautiful sunrise in paradise. Meanwhile, where is Paleo in the early morning hours on his first day on Paradise Base?
I think that Joe has gotten up early and decided to go out and kind of see, what he's dealing with outdoors, kind of. So he's gone out and taken a hike, kind of explored some of the area if he could, taking a look at the different strata and what kind of rocks he's working with, because at heart, he's still a paleontologist, and he's interested in his surroundings.
Well, because the Robinsons insisted on most of the island remaining heavily untouched, they actually forced Commander Robertson to employ the use of various paranormal agents under his command to minimize the ecological impact on establishing the base. So the base is very high tech, but it was built on very sustainable principles. In fact, they consulted with you on a lot of this because of your scientific expertise and your interest in maintaining the geological record and the anthropological record of the space. The population that lives on this island lives extremely well, but still able to hold on to traditions of their culture. So it's an interesting meld of modern, sustainable approaches with maintaining Hawaiian culture as the people who live here wish. You would know that Storm Rider was brought in to help because she has an enormous capacity for environmental control and things like that. So there's a large portion of the island that you certainly could be exploring. So Sergeant, I just said his name a minute ago.
Roberts.
No.
Fuji.
Sergeant Fujimoto Mutsunari, which I think he would be Sergeant Fujimoto because I think the way they do their names. Catches up to you as you're like setting out. He's like, okay, first day, fine. Besides your hiking, great. Tomorrow morning, we start with PT.
Sir, yes, sir.
Do not call me sir. I am a sergeant. In fact, technically you outrank me because you are all warrant officer. Just don't call me sir. Go.
Yes, Sarge. And I take off into the foliage to just...
Foliage?
Foliage?
Yeah.
Foliage.
Foliage.
Foliage. No, he's specifically stomping through foliage. Moving on.
Yes.
So you can hear the aluminum foil just crunching.
Mordriel, where are you? What's going on with you early in the wee hours on this little tiny Hawaiian island?
Well, you see, I arrived in the late hours the previous night, so I dropped the small amounts of belongings that I had in my room, proceeded to cover the walls in different sigils and runes, and then proceeded to the gym to start training, because Mordriel doesn't sleep.
Did you want an above ground space? Did you want a below ground space? Did you want a big window space, an interior space? What did you ask for?
I had an above ground space. It's towards the top of the building, and the window that I have opens and closes on demand, and it's floor to ceiling, wall to wall, so that I can take off at will.
Yes, no problem. Most of the living quarters can accommodate that without a problem. All right, so and you're headed off for training?
Yeah, I've been training for several hours at this point.
Right, so Sergeant
'Cause I don't see-
Fujimoto comes inside. Good, excellent. At that point, walking in, you've been here for several hours. It's still pretty early morning though, but at some point, Captain Shaifia Kathia, who is a Pakistani, she is in fact the leader of the Code Red Zero team. And you guys would have gotten paperwork. Whether you paid attention to the paperwork you received or not is up to you. But if you did pay attention to the paperwork, you would know that she is, 5'2", but she is an absolute, packed to, she's basically a lot like Karen Murphy from Dresden and Files. She is a spitfire. She is hard, and she is agile, and she's strong as an ox. She is the leader of the Code Red Zero team. The Code Red Zero team, by the way, are the guys who pilot the Lance units. Lance stands for. Let me look for a second. Lance stands for. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry about that, guys. Law enforcement, assault, neutralization, containment, exoskeleton. So basically, these are these really high-end battle suits. They stand about 10 foot tall, and they've got all kinds of cool weaponry and stuff like that on them. But they're like the high-end security team. There's like a company of them assigned to this base, and she's the commander of that company. She also oversees general security as well. She comes in, and what kind of training are you doing?
I don't really bother with the weights, so I started out with doing just straight body weight exercises, and at this point I'm just working the bag.
Okay, she walks over, watches for a minute. Want to spar?
Of course.
Excellent. I will try not to hurt you.
Likewise.
Sergeant like leans up against the wall, like clicks a little something. Like as you guys start stretching out to get ready for it, the room starts to fill up with security personnel and other base personnel. there might be some money being taken.
Place your bets.
Of course.
Meanwhile, Sunburst, what are you doing in the early wee hours of the morning, your first day on Paradise?
Sleeping.
Okay.
I had just gotten back. I was exploring the island because I felt very at home after growing up on the main islands in Hawaii. I felt very at home, so I kind of wanted to get in my surroundings. Now I'm just in my room, sleeping. It's kind of a mess. My windows are gonna face north, so like I could see the sun, but it never gets in my room.
Got it.
Instead of a bed, I have a hammock.
Nice.
And like no sheets or anything, and my room is freezing cold because I often overheat at night. So like the AC is on all the time. I plan on totally destroying the power bill. It's gonna be great. But there is a
0-point fusion generator that is the main power source on this planet.
I was about to say, we don't have a power bill.
And,
What are you talking about?
and they've got like incredibly efficient solar power system going on as well. So there is no power bill.
but like around my floor is pretty much, again, it's just a mess. Like there's clothes everywhere, food, multiple energy drinks, cans just lying everywhere, coffee cups lying everywhere.
So as you're sleeping, there is a soft chime. Do you think it's something you would hear and react to?
I'd hear it. I'd ignore it.
It gets a little louder.
I decide it's probably gonna keep going till I get up, stretch.
And then as you get up, a very perfect build image of a classic Polynesian, Hawaiian male in traditional garb just appears in the room, and he looks like he walked out of like cell animation. 3D, but
Yeah.
the colors are really interesting. And he gives you a traditional Hawaiian greeting, and he says, "I am Kanoa. I am the artificial intelligence interface avatar of Paradise Space."
Nice to meet you. Ava.
I know. I, in fact, know everything. It is my job, so to speak.
I need to go hide some things then.
Yes, this room is a mess. I am instructing you that you probably want to fix this before Lieutenant Colonel Finis Jawak comes and takes a look. I do not think that Commander Kulani Alika will have a problem. She tends to be fairly relaxed about such things. But the second in command considers it his job to keep everyone, what is the phrase, strack. I recommend you get some coffee and some breakfast, and if you wish to make a good impression, perhaps make your way to the funhouse.
Oh, I don't trust things with Funhouse.
The funhouse is the fun little term that they use for the training facility. Mordrail is already there, sparring currently with the commander of the Code Red Zero team, and finding that she's way better at this than he imagined he might be. But she
Okay.
might be.
I'll get down there to watch that.
I can assist you with this if you like, but since you do not know me that well, I was not sure you would feel comfortable with an artificial intelligent hologram messing with your things.
How about this? You help me take care of the cans and the bags and the
And
cups.
even as you say that, He just sort of, does this, and a couple of drone-looking things come flying in. They look they look similar to the globes, but like with more protrusion stuff. But they come in and they start they literally using little tiny tractor beams. They start picking everything up, and then you realize that there is in fact a recycling system that you just put everything into, and they start going over and just shooting it into there.
While they're doing that,
I recognize that it is a great journey from where you laid these things to the recycling hub,
You sound like my mom.
but perhaps you could endure the excruciating exercise and use it. I want you to feel at home, so if I sound like your mother, then I have succeeded. Allow me to be of service to you.
Home is not where my mother is, one. All right, I will put forth the effort.
Thank you.
I'll try. Purely because you're being nice.
Anything that I can do to be of assistance.
Um,
Simply say Kanoa, and I will come.
all right. So I'm going to walk past him, go to the fridge, and get my wraps out of the ice water I put them in and start putting them on and wrapping them around my arms.
Aloha.
Aloha.
And he disappears. And the little drones.
I don't like the drones. I don't trust drones. This is, Terminator. It's going to happen. It's gonna be
Meanwhile, Shalendra, first day on Paradise. What are you doing?
She's actually busy organizing some of her latest scrolls, which contain information about various cultures from different times and different places. And they're all in a variety of languages. So she's busy spending some time putting the last couple of scrolls away on this beautiful kind of honeycomb patterned bookshelf that she brought from her own home back in Avalon. So she kind of brought it with her. Organized all of the things. She would have a small window to let in some light. Her room is kind of warm and very earthy to remind her of her own home.
Ding!
Yes?
What I described before appears. Although in this case, he's wearing more like ceremonial robe type gear, and you actually you actually recognize some, like the sash that has some Polynesian style, like whatever would be runes in the Polynesian language, mystic symbols. I am Kanoa. I came up with a really cool thing, and I can't remember it now. The Artificial Intelligence Interface Avatar. The AIIA. I am here to be of assistance to you. How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I am artificial, and as long as my coding stays solid, I am always well.
Good to know.
Oh,
Shame.
well, yes, bad. That was bad. That was a shameful thing I just did.
That means you lose adversity.
That is not the alarm that we're actually waiting for, which, by the way, I forgot to say, we're going to have to run an alarm every 45 to 50 minutes. We will have to take a pause, take a brief break, because we'll have to reset the program I'm using. Because the program I'm currently using will only record up to an hour maximum, and we got cut off the last time, so we'll be taking breaks every 45 to 50 minutes. So when you hear the Avengers theme, that's that. That was because I forgot to turn off an alarm for something else. I'm a bad TM. But we're not starting over. We're just moving on. So that being the case, Kanoa looks at you as, is there any way that I may be of assistance to you?
Not quite, but thank you.
Very good. Then I would like to recommend that perhaps this can wait for later. And you might wish to get dressed for what is called PT, physical training. Make your way to the funhouse.
I will. She puts away one last scroll and starts heading to the PT area.
Very neat, very tidy. You will get along well here. You disperse. You've woken up from your dream. What have you done now?
I'm going to call for Noah.
Okay.
Say his name.
And he will appear. And again, for you, he's wearing much more utilitarian clothing. just like it would look like the cell animation version in 3D of a denim shirt and cargo shorts and flip flops. Yes, time lapse. How may I be of assistance?
I need to speak with the team. Where are their locations?
Currently, Paleo is investigating the following coordinates, and he issues coordinates of the island. The Mordriel is currently sparring in the funhouse, and Sunburst and Shalindra are appearing there soon. I can gather them.
That would be lovely.
Considering that after PT, it was intended that Commander Kulani Alika would have breakfast with all of you as a matter of introduction. Will that suffice, or do you need to meet with them sooner?
If you could accelerate the process, that would be good. But it's not of immediate. More time is of the essence.
Understood. So a globe, and they do. They follow you guys everywhere. A globe actually spins around to where you are at this point, where you're like looking at some really interesting stuff. And a about 2 foot tall version of Kanoa appears. He is in fact wearing, classic Indiana Jones style archaeologist outfit, and he says, "Honored Paleo, Doctor." He doesn't go because he's an AI.
Yeah.
AIs would not go Timelapse has requested that you meet earlier than was planned for breakfast. If you could wrap up your explorations and return.
I'll head back now, Kanoa.
Very good, and thank you. There's a set of globes in. So, when you're not using full-on superpowers, what are you using when you spar?
I use a combination of Muay Thai and Dos Paras.
Okay, so mechanically speaking, though, what is your might?
8.
Okay, and your agility?
6.
Okay. And you don't have martial arts; it's just the raw abilities, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are very good. You just don't have the actual martial power. That's fine.
Yeah.
You're still well trained. That's not a problem. She does a fair job. You know that if it came down to it, if it was like you had to fight her,
I would power up.
you could take her down. No, even if you didn't power up.
Okay.
But she's impressive, and she actually manages a couple throws you just did not see coming.
Okay.
So she's actually no, I take that back. If you did not use your powers, just your abilities, it's about even.
Okay.
So you guys are in. The sergeant has asked you to engage in some calisthenics and just stretching. He's trying to get used to the idea that you are going to be expected to work out, to practice, to train. He starts discussing weapons range schedules and running, classic PT stuff with you. He will explain. I do not care.
I already do all that.
Very good. You will do more.
Yes. Okay.
Because you must be ready to fight and to survive without any powers at all. That is my job. That is my passion.
Can I add in a storytelling
Yes,
element?
absolutely.
So as I'm sparring with the young captain, my globe comes forward with Kanoa, and it's like as I'm mid-grab, and he relays to me that I need to go meet up with somebody. Sir, I'm a little busy here, and so I just I change my grip, throw her over my shoulder and across the ring, and then I just go do a quick bow.
And she cat lands
Yep, expected that.
and does a bow back. Round 1. You guys have been going for like half an hour,
Yeah.
and she called that round 1.
That sounds about right. Most of my training is 6 hours at a time.
All right, so yes, the globe shows up, and each of you are asked to please clean up and meet early for breakfast in the ready room. The time-lapse needs to speak to you, and the commander and Lieutenant Colonel, second in command, will be present along with some of the other base personnel.
If I could say, I would say I come bustling in a little late. I have some stuff in my arms. I have my hat on askew, and I'm just trying to. I got back as fast as I could as I was like taking soil samples, doing things like that, and I'm coming in and kind of a bustle. And I'm like, sorry.
So we'll actually open up with that. As, we cut to the scene. Time lapse was probably already there. There is, full on breakfast is being, cooked up, but there's, bagels and fruits and coffee and tea.
I just want to add, I have like a really big flask that's full of like pure espresso shots. Which is like I'm just like slowly sipping from to wake me up enough to like be a functioning human being.
So a very large Indonesian man, solidly built, not an ounce of fat on him, just a barrel of a person comes in. He's got the lieutenant colonel, the UNISO lieutenant colonel insignia on. He got close cropped hair. He walks in. Fine, I don't have to say at ease. I was expecting maybe you would jump to attention, but apparently that's just not how this is going to be. I am Lieutenant Colonel Finis Jawak. Commander Kulani is already here, thank you. The woman walks in. She's fairly tall. She's also Hawaiian. Her uniform is nice and crisp, but she bears herself with what you would know is just the essence of aloha, right? Professional, but just comfortable. And she walks in, glad everyone's already eating. Well, they should have. No, they shouldn't have. We're really going to have to get used to how things are done on the UNISO level. Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Fine. He goes over and gets himself a cup of coffee. Somebody hand me a bagel. Somebody hand me a bagel.
You want some espresso? It's not alcohol, I swear. It's just espresso.
Thank you, I'm fine.
Espresso.
So is everyone all right? I understand we needed to call the meeting early for a reason.
Indeed.
I have others that were going to be arriving at the original time assigned, so I could introduce you to the rest of the staff. Do you wish to go ahead and address us now before they arrive?
We can wait.
Oh, very good then. Ah, good. And somebody's rolling a card in. It is, in fact, she's wearing, if you can imagine, a military-style chef's outfit. So United Nations and UNISO, the primary colors that they use are sort of a midnight blue with silver. So she's wearing the midnight blue silver fatigue style, but it's done in the chef cut.
Nice.
She's rolling in a tray, and there's a couple of lower rank guys come in who are also rolling in. And it is an absolute minor feast. At least one food that was, if there's any record of all of you liking something, it's of a breakfast nature, it's in one of the little things. So whatever it is, classic pancakes, French this, Chinese that, whatever it is, if there's something that is of a breakfasty nature or reasonably breakfast food, it's there. The difference being she's like going around saying, "Hi everyone, it's very good to see you. I'm Sergeant Ariadna. I am Sergeant Ariadna Aparicio. Sean's got to get all these. I came up with these names today, but I'm still getting them. But Ariadna Aparicio. She's obviously Latina, probably Mexican, and there is a decent array of Mexican breakfast foods in addition to everything else there. And it smells amazing. But she comes in, she's like very relaxed and happy, and she's like handing stuff out. Says, "Hey, it was interesting that you would like this very much." When she hands you something that you would really like, what does she hand you?
Kind of like the classic home-style pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
Not like the ones you get at like a restaurant or anything, but it looks and feels just like, I don't know, it smells like home.
Right.
With and they're like super fluffy, they're like that big.
And kind of uneven, and right.
And a crap ton of syrup.
Yep, absolutely. What does she bring you for breakfast?
Can you please come back to me on that?
Yeah, sure, no problem. What does she bring Tempest? Not Tempest, time lapse. Sorry.
Kind
Sorry.
of like Tempest, but not me. I don't eat. There are probably Pop-Tarts somewhere. She found them in someone's cupboard. And like, it's so sugary that she will take a piece and will eat it, and that's it.
I'll eat the rest. I'll take the rest of her
Right.
plate.
Oh.
What does Paleo brought?
I think that Paleo, just like he likes to put together his own food, so he's brought almost like a deconstructed breakfast burrito. But it's not like your normal breakfast burrito. It's like
Oh, she absolutely would have brought you the fixins.
yeah, it's like
She would know to bring you
everything.
the fixins.
And so he piles like 2 tortillas together and wraps up this monstrosity that's dripping gravy and hot sauce.
And over at the side is an omelet station just for you.
I'll take
Haley almost
whatever's left of
weeps with
his food,
joy
too.
and just starts to he gets up and goes and starts cooking.
I was hoping that I would have a chance to look at some of the things that you do, pick up some techniques. I understand that you are fond of the kitchen.
Oh, I love it. Cooking
My-
is my second nature.
I know most chefs are not like this, but I'm not like most chefs. My kitchen is open to you at any time. All I ask is that you teach everyone in there everything that you can.
Gladly.
And perhaps we could work together to have omelets ready for when the rest of the staff shows up.
I'd be more than happy to.
Perfect. All right, so everyone is sitting down, and what did it end up being for you? I'm saving him for last for a reason.
At some point during the training, Shalendra would have actually brought in some recipes from her homeland from Avalon and substituted some of the ingredients for more typical ones that you would find. So hers is a variation of a French twist combined with a pancake.
Okay, then she will have done a more than fair job of it. It's not going to be Fey quality. It's going to but it's going to taste really like a really good human attempt at creating it. She actually walks over to you and kind of stands there with her hands crossed in front of her. I have studied everything I know about what Celestials who work with UNISO consume, and we do have the ambrosia in stock, but I'm told that I should not just willy-nilly serve that, but only for the very special occasions.
That would be correct. I have a taste for human food, just because I don't actually need to eat. It just kind of tastes good and then it disappears.
Well, obviously there is a number of things here, but if there's something in particular that you would like for me to acquire for you that is not here, I will have my people take care of it right now.
How about some Belgian waffles with Nutella syrup on top? And I'll take care of making myself some tea.
A couple of guys take off. Commander Commander Alika is kind of watching you all as all that's transpiring, and just kind of seems like she's taking mental notes. Lieutenant Colonel Jawak is like, just so you know, this is a special occasion welcoming you. Cafeteria and food, like with the rest of the troops, is going to be the norm. We are not absolutely military, but we need to operate as close to military style as possible. It keeps discipline up, and it is good for you to be seen as involved with the discipline of the rest of the soldiers. We are a paramilitary as well as law enforcement organization. At the same time, Commander Alika has a very Hawaiian view of things. Aloha.
Aloha.
You're going to be asked to risk your lives on a constant basis, on levels that the rest of us can't even begin to understand. So I don't expect you to drop and give 20 all the time. My people have been instructed to encourage you to pursue betterment of yourselves. But your time will be your own when you are not on duty. And we are not, shall we say, the U.S. Army as shown in many popular tricasts. So, that being the case, I leave it to each of you to make your own decisions about how you proceed. But just understand that most of the people here will be operating as military, and you should respect that as much as possible. Now then, as people start to come in, the people were kind of filing in while all that was going on. She introduces Major Jonah Melton, who is American, ex-Coast Guard. He's in charge of logistics. He's the chief of logistics, so he's in charge of supplying vehicles. You get the impression that he loves fishing and hates it when folks don't care of their things or spaces. You already met Captain Shaifia Kathia, which, again, folks, I will be looking into how to pronounce these names so that I don't keep mangling them in the future. You are introduced to Dr. Major Jan Schilt, German. He's a protege of Dr. Erickson, who's the agent biology and xenobiologist specialist on Storm Island. But apparently, according by all accounts, he has a much better bedside manner than Dr. Erickson does. You meet Lieutenant Kirsten Nilsson, Norwegian. Apparently, you get to pick up the rumor that she worked on the security staff for the royal family of Norway. She is the chief of staff. By all accounts, she makes it all look easy. You've already met Staff Sergeant Fujimoto Mitsunari, who's the physical fitness trainer. You find out he's a master of karate and kenjutsu. You already know about his whole thing about you should all be ready for operations with or without your powers. You met Sergeant Ariadne Aparicio, and you've met Kanoa, who basically functions as sort of a major domo of the place. So each of them is present and enjoying the wonderful food being made when Commander Alika says, "This was supposed to be a general meet and greet and an enjoyable time for your first day, but I'm given to understand that TIMELAPSE would like to address us with something."
You should know, starting out, I can control time. As such, I dreamt last night. This is ineffable. Time is tearing itself apart. In this dream I had, New York is in a different place. However, these tears in time are not small. The horizon was unweaving itself. As I said, this is ineffable. This will happen. We need to find a way to prevent this.
As I understand it, and I'm no expert on such matters, but I do have some background in physics, and I have an interest in quantum mechanics and such. We're talking about a divergent timeline, yes? So when you say ineffable, you also allow for the fact that maybe something could be done to make it less ineffable, shall I say?
Exactly.
So it's a matter of it will happen if something's not done. I see.
For the peanut gallery in the back, what does ineffable mean?
It's forthcoming. It is a train on the track, and unless someone pulls the brake.
Speaking of brakes,
Break!
If someone doesn't pull the brake, then at least one other timeline is destroyed.
Which will affect every other timeline.
And on that, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll go ahead and stop this recording, and then we'll pick up with part 2. So,
Yay!
allow me to, since I don't have a tech director, yes, Michael Knight, I'm talking about you.
Someone salty.
Poor Michael Knight, unfortunately, got stuck on swing shift at the last minute. So anyway, we are out in 3, 2, 1.